it's Misty here. Thank you so much for joining me. Hey, hi, hello. Long time no see. How you been? How you doing? Hi, friends. Welcome to a very kind of probably chit-chatty, all over the place get ready with me. If you're new here, new to my channel, hello, my name is Misty, hence the Misty channel. I had been doing project painting content, meaning a fun way to use that makeup or whatever. And then back in March, I got some disturbing news about my neck, and I was having a hard time with my mental health. And so I just took a break, and I literally took a break from everything. I mentioned in that video, I believe, that I just talked to a neurosurgeon who said I needed a C2 to T2 fusion because I have enough pressure on my spinal cord to cause me to be paralysis. And everything was kind of up in the air. So in this video, I'm going to get ready. I'm going to be using some new makeup. I have, my newest two palettes are the Fairy Tale Fairies from Simply Posh and then the Winter Wonderland from Cosmic Brushes. I haven't picked up the new Cosmic Brushes release yet because Inslee Rain is releasing a couple of palettes and I kind of like the look of those better. And then I ordered the Aurora Lights and the Citrus Punch from Simply Posh. And I just saw a Instagram post for them 3 days ago. I went looking for it because I haven't been on Instagram because the palettes were supposed to ship this month and they just got them 3 days ago. So hopefully my pre-order will ship soon and then we'll go from there. But I haven't really bought a whole lot of new makeup, but I do have some. So I will kind of tell you what I'm using, etc. And I have no idea what color look I'm going to do today. The Cosmic Brushes palette is very blue and purple. I mean, it's a very me palette. This one, I had an accident with this one. It fell out, but it's like a gold color, and I swear it's the same as the one I have in the Dragon Fruit palette from Cleona. So I was a little bummed because it just literally fell out all over the floor, but it's not a color I would use very often. I did use these two palettes for a look the other day, and I did pink, and I really liked how that turned out. So this was on a deep discount because they said some of the shadows were hard pressed, but I still feel like they're fine. Like, they're really pretty. The mattes are fine. I don't have any issues. Now the shimmers, it may be the shimmers because they're not the most sparkliest ever, but you can build them up for sure. So I'm going to try to go in chronological order. So here's the thing. Let me put a little disclaimer in. I had an incident that we'll get to, and since that incident, I have been struggling with not only like the concept of time, like I never know what day it is. I never know, like it's the 26th, I think, the day I'm filming this, and it's like, how is it the 26th of July? And no, it's the 25th, and tomorrow is the 26th. See what I mean? And then I've been really struggling with short-term memory loss. So if I may stop in the middle of what I'm saying and it just go poof, or it'll reset or whatever. So just heads up, my brain is broken. It's broke. It's broke. All right. So that was March, and I think I mentioned in that video that I was going to seek out a local neurosurgeon for my 5th opinion. Found a 5th neurosurgeon, and she's fantastic. Like, I immediately felt comfortable with her, immediately knew that she would be someone that I could like lean on, etc. And her PA is just as lovely as she is. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can handle this. So she wanted new images because the last images I had were from November 2022, and this was April 2024. So had to get new images, and I had 3 MRI, one on my cervical, one on my thoracic, and one on my lumbar spine. That was an adventure in its own right because the earliest I could get it done was like the 26th of April, which is my birthday's on the 29th. That weekend was stormy AF here in southern Oklahoma and North Texas. I'm in Dallas, so I'm kind of considered North Texas, but my family is in southern Oklahoma. And so I have very bad storm anxiety. Like growing up was the worst because we'd like be woken up in the middle of the night by my mom, and she would just throw on the lights and start yelling at us to get up and get dressed because we had to get in the cellar. And it's just created the worst storm anxiety in me. And yeah. So anyway, 30 minutes before I get into the hospital to do my MRI, we go under a tornado watch. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So I get there and the tech's like, he's like, I don't know why she scheduled it like this. He's like, she's on vacation. He's like, but she didn't schedule your MRIs back to back. He said she put them 30 minutes apart, like 30-minute break in between. And then she scheduled someone in between that 30 minutes. So if you've ever had an MRI, you probably know that it takes longer than 30 minutes. It's like a 45-minute at least. And so I was there from 12:30 to 4:30, and I was about to lose my brain. I literally sat in the waiting room braless because I was like, I'm not getting completely redressed just to have to come back in here and get undressed again. So yeah, it was not a pleasant experience, but I had all 3 MRI done again. By the last one, I was like, listen, I said, my sedative has worn all the way off. I said, and he's like, you're claustrophobic? And I said, yeah. He's like, you've done really well. And I said, that's because I don't want to do this again. Like, I don't want to have to repeat these. So that was on the 26th. The next day was when those 2 big, well, I guess there was actually 3, but Marietta and Sulphur had their tornadoes. And we knew growing up that if something developed in Wise, Jack, Montague, like over in the Wichita Falls area, if you're not from southern Oklahoma, Texas, I apologize, but here's the scoop. So if something built there, we pumped out the cellar because it would keep water, like we'd have standing water. There were a couple of times we went in there and the water was up to like my waist. And so we would have to like pump the water out of that, and we knew we had to be ready for bad weather. So it was like 3 in the afternoon, maybe even earlier than that. And I took a look at the radar because we were under a tornado watch. And I was like, what is around us? And there wasn't anything around us. But stuff had built up and over there in Wichita Falls. And there was a storm over there that already had a tornado warning. So I reached out to my brother because he is not someone who really pays that much attention to the weather. And I was like, you're going to have to keep an eye on the weather. I said, because there's a storm in Wichita Falls that already has a tornado warning. And he's like, okay. And I was like, ugh. So about, I don't know, 3 hours later, it's like closer to 6. I said, you're going to have to really pay attention to that storm. I said, because it's still over there. It hasn't moved very far. And it still has a tornado warning. And he's like, okay, we're going to go to someone's house that has a cellar. And I said, okay. And good thing, because that night, they had all sorts of tornadoes. So I grew up in the Ardmore area, which is like halfway between Sulphur and Marietta off of 35. Listen, if this is not blending, it's me and not the eyeshadow palette. Let me tell you, I'm struggling. So anyway, I was like, oh my word. So they had 3 or 4 tornadoes in that area. And where we had my nephew's birthday at a park, there was a neighborhood close by that was hit by a tornado. Like, there were just storms everywhere. And I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a video. It honestly looks like the movie Twister, the original Twister. Someone was driving up 35. They were filming, and all of a sudden an 18-wheeler dropped from the sky right in front of him. And I don't know how he missed it. And then for some reason, my brother thought it was a good idea to send me a video of a woman and her kids in the car she's like, we're in the tornado. She's like, we're in the tornado. Like, put your head down. There's nothing else I can do. And they just kind of rode out the tornado in the car. I don't know what happened because I was like, why did he send this to me? I don't know. Like, I was trying my hardest not to see any of the news reports or anything, but you could see like the Dollar Tree, half of it, they had a Dollar Tree factory and half of it was gone, and they're not going back, which is devastating for that area because I think it's like 1,200 jobs or something like that. So it was rough, such a rough time. And then, so that was Saturday, and then Monday was my birthday, and it was awful. Rob's like, do you want to do something? And I was like, no. I was like, I'm just so worried. I'm like, because at this point, I'd seen my regular doctor. And I was like, the neurosurgeon first said I needed a lumbar fusion. I said, but then he said I needed a cervical fusion. My regular doctor was like, you may have to have a total spine fusion. And I was just like, Are you kidding me right now? Because that would mean they would put two metal rods from my neck to my butt, and I wouldn't be able to move that. Now, the good thing about it would be I wouldn't have any nerve pain. But yeah, and I also hurt my wrist. So if you see me kind of wince when I move my wrist, I'm normally wearing a really big, what's it called? Brace, but I can't do makeup with it on. So I took it off, but I have some kind of tendonitis, so I know. The sheath around the tendon is inflamed and it causes it to be very, 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 very painful. Very painful. So that happened, and then, so that was on Monday. My birthday was on Monday, and I saw my neurosurgeon the next day, which was April 30th. And she was like, did you look at your images? And I was like, she's asked me that several times now, and I'm like, can I pull those up on my computer? She's like, there are 500 images. And I'm like, holy crap. She said, but you do need a C2 to T2 fusion. She said, your disease has progressed. She said, but it hasn't progressed enough to really be worrisome. And I was like, okay. And she was like, you do need a fusion. So you do need that surgery. She said, now, your disease has progressed. She's like, but it hasn't progressed rapidly. She said, so I'm not really, that worried about it. She's like, but you do need to have a surgery within the year. So I scheduled surgery for August 30th, 2024. So what is that? Less than 5 weeks away. Was trying to figure out what I was going to cook to put in the freezer for Rob and all of these things. And then right before Mother's Day, he developed a cough. Now I'm someone who can't handle repetitive sounds. I can't handle when someone is coughing all the time. And it felt like he was coughing every 30 minutes. So finally on Mother's Day, I was like, listen, dude, you're going to have to go to the doctor. You have got to go to the doctor. I can't handle it. So that Monday, so the Monday after Mother's Day, so Mother's Day was on Sunday, he went to the doctor on Monday and was like, he came home and he's like, okay, she said, I could have a virus, but she thinks it's just allergies. And I was like, okay. So by Thursday, I started having a little tickle in my throat. Friday, my ears clogged up all the way. And then Saturday, I was having to do breathing treatments. Now, I have had in the past, I was diagnosed with allergy-induced asthma. And I hadn't had an issue with it until last year when we got COVID. I'm going to bring in this Inslee Rain, I think, palette because I really want a purple. And there's not really one I like. This is what this one looks like. And it is gorgeous. I love Inslee Rain. Number one formula of my life. The mattes especially. Okay, that's more like lavender than purple. I really want a purple. Let's see if I can find one while we're talking. So I have allergy-induced asthma. Didn't have an issue with it from 2016 to 2023 until we caught COVID. So got COVID and we got COVID last year and I had long COVID and I had, it sparked up my asthma. I went back to my doctor. This is the Strawberry Moon palette. They've remastered this palette, but I didn't pick it up. That's more like pinky blue. So anyway, I was just like, oh my word. So I did 3 breathing treatments on Saturday. So it causes me to have asthma. So my asthma flared up. And it was very rainy. It was a very rainy weekend that weekend. And, ooh, that's pretty. Yeah, let's do this one. I think this is from the Solomon 2 palette from Oud and Sai. I didn't really like their original formula, but since Angie's initial collab, I do like their formula. So Saturday, Sunday, it was raining like bejesus, and I was having to do 3 breathing treatments. I did 3 breathing treatments on Saturday, 3 breathing treatments on Sunday, a couple on Monday, a couple on Tuesday. I literally felt like I was I told a friend, I was like, I think maybe I have pneumonia, but I'd never had it before. But I was like, my lungs are killing me. I didn't have the traditional symptoms of pneumonia though. I had nothing in my chest. I just was having a hard time breathing. So by Wednesday, I felt better. I don't even know if I did a breathing treatment that day. Now, Rob he bowls in a league, and it's through the school year. And so it was like his last night of bowling. And he came home, and I was on the couch under an electric throw because sometimes I'm very cold. And I had it on high. Well, girl here didn't put two and two together that I probably had a fever. So I went to bed. This was on Wednesday night. I woke up Thursday morning and wasn't able to wake up. You're like, Misty, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, ma'am? So I told her, I was like, I can't wake up. Like, I cannot wake up. What is the matter? I can't wake up. I was very lethargic. And I thought I had DKA. Now, DKA is called diabetic ketoacidosis. And I had that in 2018 from a medication. And the day I felt like I felt this time, I was like, this is not hyperbole. I was going to die. Like my body had shut down. I hadn't eaten in 3 days. Like I just felt I couldn't stay awake. And if I hadn't called 911 that day and had them take me to the hospital, Rob would have came home and I would probably be in a coma and probably dead. Like it was that serious. So I was like, shit, do I have that again? So check my ketones. My ketones were fine. I was like, okay, then what in the hell are we doing? So I get up finally. I'm finally able to wake up. And I'm like, okay, I need to go to the hospital. Like I couldn't breathe. I could not breathe. And I was like, I really need to go to the hospital. And we live, like there's the hospital, their parking lot, a road, and then us. We live within walking distance for him. And I thought we were going to have to call 911 so I could get to the hospital because I couldn't breathe and I couldn't walk and breathe at the same time. I was scared. It was scary AF. And I was just like, oh my God. So I finally was able to get a shower, get in the car, get to the hospital. And the doctor's like, they're like, what are you here for? And I'm like, I can't breathe. I said, my chest is super tight. I can't breathe. Couldn't wake up, very lethargic. So they do a chest x-ray. Chest x-ray is clear. The doctor's like, you don't sound tight. You don't sound awful at all. But I had 103 fever. And he's like, we're going to keep you to give you antibiotics. And I said, okay, that's fine. So Rob goes home because I'm like, this is going to take forever if they're going to admit me. Ooh, look at that one. That's pretty. Look at that. Ooh, I'm going to use that. So I was like, okay, whatever. So he goes to get some work done. And they come in and get me to a CT scan. And so I had the CT scan, and initially I know they were checking for a pulmonary embolism because I came in with like chest pain. And I told him, I was like, this is not heart attack chest pain. I was like, this is like my lungs hurt. So get done with CT scan, get in the room, back in the emergency room, kind of triage area. And the doctor walks in 15 minutes later. He's like, well, never mind. You've got pneumonia. And I said, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, you've got pneumonia. And he said, you've got this fever. He said, so we're going to go ahead and get you admitted and get you upstairs. And I was like, okay. And he's like, I'm going to have someone come in and do a breathing treatment. Okay, cool. So Rob and I had this running joke because he grew up in Massachusetts. Look at that. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Yeah. So he grew up in Massachusetts. So when it's cold here, like in the 50s and people are in parkas here in Texas, he's like walking around in shorts and a t-shirt. Now, I know you can't get pneumonia from being cold. I know that. I do. But I always said, you're going to get monias. And I called it monias because it was a joke, right? So I text him and I was like, I've got monias. And he was like, I'm sorry, what? I said, I have the monias. So they get me upstairs and I have a regular doctor. Ooh, look at that, y'all. Ooh, that's this one and this one. This is the Lands of Enchantment palette from Inslee Rain. Her palettes are expensive, but they're worth it. Like Glamlight, who? If you like the Glamlight formula, this is about 1,000 times better. And if you like the Cosmic Brushes formula, you'll like this formula too. I like the shimmers a bit more in the Inslee Rain palette, but the mattes are just as good as, or even a little bit better than the ones from Cosmic Brushes. But they're really quite similar, to be quite honest. So they get me upstairs. I have an internist who's kind of like the lead doctor or whatever. and I have a pulmonologist, and I have an infectious diseases doctor because I'm running a fever, so I have an infection. And he was like, we need a sample. And I was like, a sample of what? And he's like, mucus. I was like, I don't have any mucus. And he just looked at me. I was like, I haven't coughed up anything. My nose had, like, my head had been running, but I hadn't had any congestion because it was literally just running. So I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't have any mucus. So the, what? Rob put something over there. I'm sure he moved something. Sorry about that. So the pulmonologist walks in. Rob's back by this time. And he's like, who gave this to you? And Rob's like, I guess me. And so he's like, we're going to keep you here. We're going to give you some breathing treatments, get you on some oxygen. And because my pulse ox had gotten down to like 84 in the hospital, and hindsight is 20/20, as you guys know. And the reason I probably couldn't wake up is because my pulse ox had dropped like way low. And I think that's the culprit of my brain issues because like I said, I have had short-term memory loss, no concept of time, like none. Like I texted Jessica, I was like, how's it Wednesday? Because I hadn't texted her since Sunday, and we had been talking for the last couple of years that we've been talking. We've talked at least once a day, and I just, like, she messaged me last, and I just forgot, or I don't know, but my brain, I feel like my brain is broken. And I think it's because I literally didn't have any enough oxygen to my brain. So that was Thursday. I'm there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I go home on Sunday. So one of the issues I had, I'm a type 2 diabetic and my blood sugar was high. Well, no shit, Gerald. I'm sorry, high because I was running an infection. And then they're giving me steroids. So I have an IV and they're doing antibiotic and steroid at the exact same time. And like they changed it out every 3 hours. Like it was just, they were just pumping me full of everything. And he was like, your blood sugar is really high. I was like, I know. I was like, I have an infection. And I said, and you're giving me a bunch of steroids. I said, plus they ordered my dinner and they ordered my breakfast for the next day on Thursday because I was downstairs. So for dinner that night, it was some kind of stir fry with rice. And then I told Rob, I said, if my breakfast tomorrow is oatmeal, juice, bread, and something else, I said, I'll probably scream. And so he got there the next day. He's like, what was your breakfast? And I said, there was oatmeal, apple juice, an English muffin, and eggs. And I was just like, so I told the doctor, I was like, listen, you're feeding me a bunch of carbs. I said, I don't eat this many carbs in a day. I mean, a week, let alone a day. So he's like, well, we'll get it lowered. He lowered it down like by, what's it called? Barely. I was like, all right, dude, whatever you think at this point. So that gets done. I have no idea what's going on outside. It's a big ass truck. Oh, that was my Windex that fell. Oh my word. This video is all over the place. I apologize. So anyway, so we get that kind of figured out, but they start giving me a ton of insulin, which I tried to deny. And she's like, if you deny it, we have to, you'll have to be, what's the word? Discharge. And I was like, fine. So they're giving me all this insulin, and I'm like, I'm going to gain 15 pounds from you guys filling me up with insulin and steroids. So the first couple of nights aren't too bad. My nurse at night was lovely, and she was preggo, so she was really tired, and I was like, come in and do what you need to do. I said, I'm not going to mind. So the first 2 nights, the medical assistant and the nurse were lovely. Came in, were very quiet. That must be the big trash truck. Came in, were very quiet. They they didn't turn the light on. They would use the light from the hallway. They didn't, make a big ruckus or whatever. The next 2 nights, those 2 nurses had no qualms with throwing on the light and coming in at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I just wasn't able to sleep because my door was broken and it would just slam, and that would wake me up, and then the light would wake me up, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. So I picked up a Tarte bundle when they did that a couple of months ago and got some stuff, but I also got some other stuff. So I got the Tear foundation. I've actually worn this twice, This color is way too light for me. I think this is 13N. 17N has been out of stock on Amazon forever. I don't think I love it enough to spend another $20 on another shade. But it's all right. It's not my favorite, but it's all right. It is pretty full coverage though. What we're going to use today is the Revlon. This is the third one of these I've purchased. The first two had some kind of odd smell. This one came in fine. This is the Luminance Revlon. Teresa goes on and on about this one. She and I have a very similar skin type, so I don't see the color. So we're going to play with that. I have a cream blush from the Grease collection from Makeup Revolution. This is the Rizzo. Fun fact, we almost named Roxy Rizzo. It was either Rizzo or Roxy, and I was like, you know what, I think she looks like Roxy. Took me a week to name her. I've got a kind of creamy highlighter from Revlon. Oh, it's a very Revlon day. I've got a couple of the NYX Buttermelt blushes. I got Tarte Party because I already finished one. I've got the bronzer from NYX, and then I have a lipstick from Tarte. So let's do the foundation and then we will keep going. I don't have a cream bronzer that's new. Here's my bucket of shit. I don't have a cream bronzer that's new, I don't think. So I'm just going to go ahead and use what's already on my desk. And we'll go from there. Okay, I guess I could really just kind of skip cream bronzer, but we'll see. All right, let's start with this. Let's start with this. So pneumonia in the hospital. Sunday comes around, Saturday night I'm sitting on the bed and I'm like, my blood sugar is low. Like I could tell immediately that my blood sugar was low. So I called the nurse in, they took my blood sugar 65. So I was like, oh, so they gave me too much insulin with dinner. So then we spent the next, I don't know, 4 hours trying to get my blood sugar up. And then I had to go to the bathroom and I was hooked up to the IV. And during the day, they'd been coming in, unplugging the IV and helping me go to the bathroom. So I called called for help to go to the bathroom. The medical assistant comes in and she unhooks the IV at the wrong spot. There's a place where you can unhook it so it doesn't, like nothing happens, but she unhooked it at the wrong spot. And I can remember sitting on the toilet and I had blood everywhere. I'm like, where the flip is this blood coming from? And then I realized it was coming from the IV. Well, once she did that, it caused the IV to fail. So I had to get a whole new IV. That was a whole thing. We were trying to get my blood sugar up, but that was a whole thing. It was just a mess. And I was tired. I was exhausted at this point. So the next morning, the pulmonologist walks in. He's like, how did you sleep? And I said, I didn't. He said, what? I said, I didn't. And I told him everything that happened. And he's like, well, I feel comfortable letting you go today if you feel like you're ready. He's like, you're sounding so much better. He said, I do want you to have like a home health nurse to help you for the first couple of weeks. He said, we're going to have you be doing, keeping up with your breathing treatments and stuff. And I said, that's fine. And then I'd seen a physical therapist there too. And she's like, are you disabled? And I said, yeah. I said, I have this issue with my neck. I said, but I also have muscular dystrophy. And she's like, would you care if I, prescribed home health, physical health? And I was like, not at all. I said, anything that will help me kind of get some mobility back, I am here for. So they let me go on Sunday and they were like, you have double pneumonia and RSV. And I'm like, the fuck? How did I get RSV? Like, where did that come from? But since I couldn't give them a mucus sample, it took a while for them to figure out what was going on, other than the pneumonia, because they saw that on the CT scan. So they sent me home, and they sent me home with an antibiotic and a steroid. Let me tell you, this is, if you've ever been prescribed Prednisone, whatever the crap that steroid is, it's normally in the pack. And the first day you take so many pills, and the next day you take so many pills, and the next day you took so many pills. This was in a bottle. And it was like 3 days worth. And the last pill I had to cut in half, and half one day and half the other. I was like, I've never had a steroid dose like this. So get home, and again, antibiotic, and the steroid. And so I get home on Sunday. Then the very next day is Memorial Day. So I'm in the hospital Memorial Day weekend with double pneumonia and RSV. And I can remember sitting on the side of the bed when I was going through that blood sugar issue, and I was like, I am scheduled to have surgery in less than 3 months. It was like, or less than 4 months, 3.5, no. April through August, 4 months. So at that point, we were at almost 3 months, a little over 3 months is what I'm trying to say. And I was just sitting there, I was like, there's no way on God's green earth that I am going to be able to have a major surgery in 3 months. Like, I could barely breathe. I could barely move because moving meant breathing and breathing was an issue. So, okay, this is gorgeous. Look at that. It's actually a really good color, but it's looking pretty light on camera. So yeah, this is pretty. My primer, I forgot to mention, I'm using the First Aid Beauty coconut one. It's really pretty. It's basically a moisturizer. And let me tell you, my skin has been going through it because I have not been doing my skincare. So anyway, I'm getting home on Sunday, and then later that week, I get enrolled in home health. The home health nurse comes, and I'm just like barely moving. When I say I'm barely moving, I'm barely moving. We came home that day, and I slept. I took a 5-hour nap, and then got up for a couple hours and went to sleep and slept 15 hours, and I just slept. Because I told the pulmonologist, I was like, I need to be able to sleep. I said, if I don't sleep, I'm not going to get well. He's like, yeah, I agree. Because I was like, listen, I told the infectious diseases doctor, I was like, I have CVID, which is common variable immunodeficiency. And I said, and I'm on immune suppression therapy. He's like, it must be a light. He's like, it's not. I said, it is enough for me to be on IVIG. I said, but the immunologist wanted to wait because I hadn't had an infection in a year. And here we go, I have double pneumonia and RSV. So I see her next week. I have no idea what she's going to say about it. But I was like, yeah, So that was a concern. And I went back and looked at my blood work. When I went into the hospital, my white blood count was 2.5. I was running a fever. They should have been at least 10 or maybe even more than that. When I left the hospital, my white blood count was 4.5. So even fighting 2 huge infections, like my immune system was barely working. So yeah. I get home and get the home health nurse and everything. I've been so for the following week is when the physical therapist said she could come. So Rob works from home and he works at the table. And if you've ever seen any of my videos on my At Home with Misty channel, my table, our kitchen table faces the TV. So he keeps the TV on. He doesn't have any sound on because he's a proofreader and he needs to be able, he has to be able to hear. Or has to be able to read. So he doesn't have the sound on, but he keeps the TV on. So and don't forget I'm in Texas. So the physical therapist walks in, and I don't know how to pronounce his name because I didn't pay any attention to the news. I haven't watched the news in years unless it's about the weather. So the physical therapist walks in, she's like, oh, is that the Fauci trial or whatever? And I was like, no. She's like, I am so glad he's finally being held accountable for social distancing and masks when he had no idea. And I was just thinking, the whole entire world was social distancing and wearing masks. I mean, it wasn't just America. And I was just like, thinking in my head, it's like, I don't understand what else, why would he be in trouble for that? Like, people were dying, he was doing the best he could. So anyway, she started talking about how she was glad that she didn't get the COVID vaccine. She's like, I'm so glad I didn't get the COVID vaccine, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, that's fine. She's like, yeah, I don't get any vaccines. I don't even get the flu shot. And I was just like, I'm sorry, what? I kind of look at Rob and just raise my eyebrows like that, but he didn't say anything, and I wasn't going to say anything out loud. So I let her do her thing. You know, she's whatever she's doing. And she leaves, and we schedule for another appointment. And I look at him, and he's like, that's concerning. I was just like, why would they send somebody to me? Literally, I just got out of hospital with double pneumonia and RSV, both which I contracted from somebody else. I said, why would they send somebody to me who isn't vaccinated? And to be quite honest, I wasn't even thinking about the COVID vaccine. I was thinking about the flu vaccines. Like, how are you in healthcare and you're not vaccinated? Now, don't get it twisted. You can do whatever you want to with your body. Like, I believe and trust in science as much as I can. But I also know that people choose not to be vaccinated. I don't understand it. When my last job, we had a parent who refused to vaccinate, and that was a whole big old deal. But anyway, so I was just like, oh, I was like, I feel like I need somebody who is going to, I don't have, oh, I was going to use that cream blush stuff. I said, I feel like I need somebody vaccinated. Like, seriously, like, why would you send somebody to my house that isn't vaccinated? So I call home health. That is a whole ordeal in its own self. And I'm like, hi, hey. I was like, the physical therapist you guys sent isn't vaccinated. And I said, I would prefer someone who is. And so she was like, okay, we'll get it settled. Well, it wasn't the scheduling person I spoke to. It was just someone there who took the message. And so a couple of days later, I get a call. I think it's like on a Thursday. And it's the scheduling person. She's like, I had to reschedule everybody for next week to make sure that you got someone who is vaccinated. She's like, so you're not going to have any services until next week. And I was just like, that's fine. She's lucky I was having a bad breathing day, or I would have just cussed her out up and down. Maybe not cussed her, but I would have, she would have known my reaction to her being inconvenienced for me trying to protect what little immune system and white blood count I had. It's like people have the right not to be vaccinated, but I have the right to have healthcare people that are. So I'd seen another nurse too, and I got a brand new nurse and a brand new physical therapist. I said, are you telling me that the nurse even isn't vaccinated? The hell? But again, we're in Texas, so like they don't believe in science for the most part. They're too worried about the border. So anyway, that happened. Oh, I forgot concealer. I actually don't know that I need any. I'm going to put a little bit though. Just to brighten. Just a little bit right there. So, get the new nurse, and she's lovely. She's funny as hell. She reminded me of me so much. Like, we got along like peas and carrots. She was so great. And then we get the physical therapist. And it's a guy. And when he left, Rob's like, he's very bra. I was just like, my husband is a 60-year-old white man. I was like, where are you getting bra from? So he was very bra. That was a very apt description. He was very much, I thought, I was like, did they send me a physical therapist or did they send me a personal trainer? Because he was talking about all these exercises and stuff. And I was like, dude, you're going to have to calm your tits because you're going to have to calm down. You need to calm down. I'm like, damn, it's 7 a.m. Like, I'm not a Swiftie, but I had heard those lyrics the other day, and I'm like, okay, I like that song. So anyway, he goes over the notes, and he's like, I see that you blah, 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 blah. Anyway, before he left, he's like, I want you to look up, it's like kinetic something. Anyway, it's a phobia of moving. And I looked at Rob when he left, and I said, I know he isn't trying to diagnose me with this bullshit. And I said, he's not a psychiatrist. He doesn't need to be throwing that around. And Rob's like, I agree. So I said, he's like, he's so loud. I was like, I know. So I'm going to give him two chances. And he was much better. Still loud AF. He's just a loud guy. But the first time I saw him the following week, I was having a very rough day. Woke up with my lungs, they felt like they were literally on fire. I was like, am I not over this? Because I'd already finished my antibiotic and I'd finished my steroid. And I'm like, I should be over this by now. So he was helping me with some breathing exercises that I could do. Isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. It's just like a cream highlighter from Revlon. What's it called? Endless Glow. It's got like a peachy, pinky kind of iridescent. It's so pretty. I mean, my skin is already glowy. I didn't really need it, but we're gonna do it. So yeah, that happened. That was a real thing that happened in my life. So I saw him for a couple of weeks, and the nurse was like, she's like, I don't know why I'm still seeing you. I don't know why she set up 6 weeks. And I said, it's probably because I was literally not doing well when she came to enroll me. So she said, yeah, you're probably right. So he comes a couple of times and I'm feeling better. And then that was, like I said, Memorial Day weekend, and I wasn't able to get in to see my regular doctor until the end of June. So we go see him at the end of June, and I was like, listen, I feel like I still have pneumonia. And he's like, Misty, if you still have pneumonia, you'd be dead. I was like, what? He said, you would be in the hospital or in the morgue. He's like, people don't have pneumonia that long and are able to move as much as you're moving around. And I was like, all right, I'm going to put a little bit of Laura Mercier powder. I'm normally not someone who powders, but I'm just going to put a little bit before we go in with the powder stuff. I was like, oh my word. So one thing I did have that I no longer have is one of the Maybelline liquid blushes. I can insert a clip because I already tried to film this video once. I'll insert a clip. It like literally blended away, like just gone. Missing person. Send out a MIA because the blush just didn't do anything. It was awful. So I think I'm gonna wear this pinky blush. What color? Okay, that literally disappeared. Where is this? Buttermilk, butterscotch, butter up, something like that. Let's see. The blush is Butter Together, and the bronzer is Buttercup. Now, Buttercup, I believe, is the very first color from the bronzer line. So he's like, no, you don't. He's like, you don't have pneumonia. I was like, but my lungs still hurt. And he's like, they may hurt for a while. So he's like, I'm going to send you for a CT scan to make sure, like, oh my gosh, Misty, what are you doing? Look what I did. My word. Listen, I have an A head, I know, but I don't need it like that. Brain. That's what I'm telling you, my brain. My brain is broken. Oh my word. Well, it's just going to have to be dark. I'll fix it later. So, oh my word. That actually helps some, I guess. I don't know. And you can see my scalp, and it looks like it's 5 shades lighter. So he's like, I'm gonna send you for a CT scan today and we'll get it done. My lungs come back fine. But they're still sore. We're almost 3 months out. No, 2 months out. 2 months out and my lungs are still sore. So going back to the surgery, I talked to my neurosurgeon, I talked to my rheumatologist, and I was just like, I don't feel comfortable because it can take up to 6 months to a year for your lungs to heal after having pneumonia. And from what I understand, I may have mycoplasma pneumonia because I didn't have any of the traditional pneumonia symptoms. Someone's like, I think you had this, and wherever they live, they've had an outbreak of it. And I was like, well, that kind of makes sense. But because my immune system is already screwed up, it can take 6 months to a year for my lungs to heal. And like I said, they still hurt. The humidity is a huge trigger for me for having to do a breathing treatment. Like, we've been humid the last couple of days, and I'm like, can't breathe. Can't breathe because of the asthma. So it's just been, it's been one thing after the other, you guys. Anywho, so everything was fine with that. Blood work came back fine. So I told her, I was like, I think I probably need to see a pulmonologist. Just because this asthma, and I'm having such a hard time after pneumonia, and it's just, I just feel like maybe I should see a pulmonologist. So I haven't made that appointment just yet. I see my immunologist next week. I see my dentist next week, and I'm still going for my Spravato. So if you didn't know, my psychiatrist diagnosed me with medical-resistant depression. And rather than changing my antidepressant, he said, let's do an intervention. And he said there are 3 different ones. We could do one where it's like electromagnets to your brain. That's every day. He said we do try Spravato, which is an inhalant. And he's like, then there's an infusion. He said a lot of times, like a ketamine infusion. He said a lot of times insurance won't pay for that unless you're in the hospital. He said sometimes they'll cover the Spravato. And I said, let's just try for that. So we did, and I was approved. So I've been doing Spravato now since the end of March, I think. So it's an inhalant, and it's the first 4 weeks is 2 a week for 4 weeks, and then the next 4 weeks is 1 a week for 4 weeks, and then you go on maintenance dose. With my pneumonia, I missed 2 different doses of this. So I'm on my fourth dose back, and I'm feeling much better. Now, I'm feeling much better. And we tried to go up to the higher dose. I'm on the basic, like the middle dose. If you've ever had altitude sickness or you've had vertigo, that's what it felt like. I couldn't hold my head up. I was so sick. Taking, not Zyrtec. What is that nausea medicine called? You guys know what I'm talking about. Taking that didn't help. So I remember it makes you sleepy. You have to be there 2 hours, blah, blah, blah. It's administered by a medical professional. So there's a nurse there with me. You inhale it, you puff it in your nose. It literally goes straight to your brain. It's medically proven to help heal the places where you have the depression or anxiety. What else? Anyway, I was so apathetic to everything. Like, I just didn't care. And I didn't care that I didn't care. And I've said that before. And people were like, Misty, what does that even mean? I'm like, it means that I should care about what's going on with my body or what's going on with everything. And I just can't. I just couldn't. Like, I just literally could not give two shits about what was happening. So that has definitely helped in that area for sure. It's tight line. So, yeah. It's the real thing that happened in our life. So we decided to not cancel it, but postpone my surgery. I'm going to aim for Memorial Day weekend next year. It gives me more time to lose weight. So hopefully I get to the point where I'm no longer emotionally eating and I can get some weight off. I lost down to the lowest weight I've been since high school. I mean, I graduated high school basically at the same size I am right now. Always been heavy, always. So anyway, I want to get like 100 pounds off. If I get 100 pounds off, I will be right around 230-ish. Okay, I was going to do this with a liquid liner, but I messed up a little bit. So my neurosurgeon and I, when we were talking about it, she's like, it's not progressing fast enough for it to be that big of an issue. She said, if you got into a car accident and you have a neck injury, she said for most people they would just, have a neck injury. She's like, but it could paralyze you. She said, but I don't want you going around life thinking that you're going to be paralyzed in a car accident. And I was like, no, I understand what you're saying. So as long as I have it within a year, and this will be like 13 months. But, yeah, the reason why I even picked Labor Day weekend, August 30th, was because, number one, she only does surgeries on Thursday and Fridays. And Rob is off that Friday and off that weekend. But afterward, you can't take anti-inflammatories. And I have two different inflammatory diseases. Actually, I have more than that. But I have chronic inflammation, and I live on my Celebrex every day. And when I don't take them, I know that I haven't taken them because I am literally in a lot of pain. So I thought August would be great because I can't take anti-inflammatories after. I mean, winter is so hard for me. I think it's probably hard for everybody that has chronic pain or lives with a chronic illness because it's like the weather is changing. And I always was like, I never understood what my grandmother said when she said that she could feel a cold front coming. Oh, I understand now. I know now. I know exactly what she means now. It's so weird. But yeah, so we postponed that. I'm doing this bravado. I hope to lose another 100 pounds. And I made this video because I'm hoping to come back to painting. So Jessica and I talked, and I was like, I think I want to come back with Throwback 30 because I haven't been painting. I mean, this is probably only the third time I've worn makeup since filming my videos at like mid-April. Oh no, what did I do? Oh no! Can you see it? Shoot. How did I pick up black? Shoot. Okay, so anyway, I think I want to come back to panning. I'm starting to feel like, because I had no desire to make cards. I had no desire to play with makeup. I just wanted to sit on the couch and play games, and I did. Like, and I've been so tired. Like, 10 out of 10, do not recommend getting pneumonia because it's just so tiresome. It's taken, like, even now, like I said, we're 2 months out, and I'm still really tired. I struggle with exhaustion. I get tired really easily. Like I said, the weather is a huge factor for my asthma, and it's just been so flippin' humid around here. Oops, wrong one. So, yeah, but that's kind of where I've been. So postponing surgery, my regular doctor was like, why? And I said, because I have to be under anesthesia for 10 hours. And I said, and I'm going to be in the prone position, meaning I'm going to be on my belly and my boobs, and I have big boobs, and I cannot lie. And I was like, I'm not, like, I don't feel it necessary. Like, I want to wait. And he's like, he's like, you should just do it. And I'm like, I love you, but I just can't. Like, and I had already had some reservations about that date. Like, my subconscious was like, oh, I don't know about that date, Misty. So it's like, okay, I didn't listen to my body, and my intuition was like, girl, you ain't doing this surgery. So I feel like in my intuition or my guardian angel would like, pump the brakes, ma'am, pump the brakes. I don't have any lashes to put on that I like, that aren't, I mean, I have these huge ones that I think are strawberry shortcake lashes. I don't know that I really want to flip around with that. It's lost forever. I don't want huge lashes on. Ugh. So anyway, that is kind of what's been going on. I do want to come back, like I said. It's just been rough. I like these. These are Yanni. It's my favorite from Shop Say. I feel like I want to get back into all of it, like putting on makeup and making cards. I just did I'm on a design team with Stamp Anything, and they did a strawberry shortcake release for me. So there are 6 strawberry shortcake character stamps. If you make cards, Stamp Anything, you can find it on my Facebook or my YouTube channel, The Jolly Fit Elf. But anyway, so cute and so fun. But I was like, I'd quit, and like 37,000 people watched my I'm saying goodbye video, which is kind of whoa. And then I was like, I'm not having surgery. Can I come back? And they were like, yeah, let's get you back. And I said, oh, thank you very much. Lashes are on. I'm going to go change my shirt. And I will be right back, and we will finish off this look with a lipstick. All right, I think the angle changed probably a little bit, and it looks like the color changed as well. So let's put on a lipstick, and we will call this look done. I think I'm gonna use this one. This is the Strawberry Shortcake lipstick from Glamlight. It's a really pretty, kind of bright pink. And I know you're like, Missy, you should wear a nude. No. That's not the color. It's so pretty, but this ain't it. Maybe I should just wear the gloss. this is the finished look. I like it. I hope you do too. So yeah, hopefully hopefully this isn't 1,000 hours long. I apologize if it is, but it's so good to be back. I think I've mentioned before, but I'll mention again. When I can't do something that I love, I shy away from watching any content about it. So I think I've probably watched three videos, and they were Jessica's, and then I just haven't watched anything else because it just made me so sad. Same way with card making. So I hope to be back here on Instagram, just back to being me. I posted an update video on my At Home with Missy channel, and someone said that. She's like, you just seem more like yourself than you were before. And I feel like I'm coming back into myself. I've actually mentioned that to I got a new therapist. This is the third one in a year. First one left to go work with foster kids. Second one has left to work in for professional development for the same company. And then I have a new therapist. So far she seems nice. I told her, I was like, you asked me a question and kind of put me in an existential crisis, because she asked me what fulfills me. And I was like, I don't know how to answer that. Like, I have no idea. So if you, I was about to say, if you know what fulfills me, let me know if you know something that does that to me. So yeah, so anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate you. Hopefully I will have a Throwback 30 intro on the 27th. I am going to reboot some of my projects, definitely Color Pan, and That's Expensive, because those two are mine. I'm probably going to bring back Painting Revolution if you guys are interested in that one. Are there any other? Oh, I'm facing music with Jessica. That's a roulette style. And then I saw something about Walt Disney. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll like that. So we'll see. I'm going to ease my way back into it, and we'll see how things go. I don't know about painting eyeshadows yet. I may just do paint those eyeshadows for now, and then if I can get back in the groove of things and feel kind of comfortable with it, maybe I'll bring back paint that palette or something. So let me know in the comments which projects you would like to see me do, and we'll see if I can get them done. So anyway, that's it. I hope you'll consider subscribing. If you can't leave if you don't want to leave a long comment, just leave a purple heart, say hello, whatever you want to do down in the comments. It's good to be back. And like I said, I hope to be back posting regularly, and we'll see how that goes. So yeah. So anyway, if you want to keep up with me, you can find me at the Jollified Elf or At Home with Misty. I'm hardly on Instagram, but I'm hoping to get better at that. So yeah. Anyway, I love you guys. I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.